What's happening YouTube? So this time I got to ask Stuart Scott versus Lynn Swann. Whose uh vibe did I like when we're talking football? This is good. Oh, Stuart Scott was uh like a cat that was fresh out of the waters. He was one of the last true organic original broadcasters on that network. He is missed. All the hype that Stephen A. Smith gets, he couldn't hold a candle to Stuart Scott. Stuart Scott had his own lingo, had his own vibe. He turned a lot of white folks off, and some black folks, but a lot of white folks were complaining about how, but he would just make it work. Chris Berman been getting away with back, and all that. Stuart Scott would break you off, say stuff, but be on point. Very knowledgeable, direct, had a cool vibe about him, and he was a strong fixture. And he definitely did his homework and due diligence. So he definitely was. I like the way he would commentate about matchups and football. Just had a way of doing it organic. You know, he was one of my favorites on there. If I'm picking like you know was that good. Really enjoyed him. Um, we get to Lynn Swann, who acrobatic wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Took him long enough to get in the Hall of Fame. Um, did some good commentary. Had a very pleasant introduction, very pleasant voicing. Would be accurate with what he did. You know, I don't. The only thing I would say this about Swan, I thought he had a good tone and everything. I just don't think that he necessarily uh had that kind of vibe where he kept your attention. Sometimes when you're listening to the critiques or watching the analysts or what have you, he does things with pleasant tone, but it wasn't like that voice or something that was memorable where you were listening to him and you thought, yeah, this cat I'm going to listen to. People don't understand it. If you have a really good broadcaster or an announcer, sometimes those games be moo boo boo. But if the announcer is on point, you'll stay tuned. You'll like even if the game is garbage, you'll be like, I'm gonna watch because the cat was funny or they knowledgeable. They had a way of doing it. Stuart Scott had that personality and he had a way of bringing it. So, um, from that perspective, I have to say, Stuart Scott wins. But Lynn Swan, credible cat. Um, and talk to the depths and what's going on. But I got to give it. Sometimes when you watch, especially when you're watching former football players, how they critique, do they have personality? Because there's certain ones that I watch just to see how their interactions are, and do they, get you involved? There was someone where humor made a big point. You know, like Tony Saragusa was hilarious for what he did. I just thought he was funny for how he was able to do what he did. You know, and if I go on the college level, I take someone like Desmond Howard, and Desmond then almost made you forget he was a Super Bowl MVP and he was a Heisman Trophy for Michigan because his college game day is on point. So you can do it. Not just articulating, but you have character with you. So that's the only thing that I'm going about. But it's hard, journalist or no, or what have you, it's hard to come behind someone like Stuart Scott because he definitely was a man of a lot of words. I thought Swan was good and articulate, but Stuart Scott was articulate but funny, vibrant, and hip within the culture. And but it's a good battle. I'm glad I got asked this about these two. But anyway, let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. And share it if you like. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out one time. Peace.